Donald Trump guilty, convicted felon, 34 counts. First time in American history a president was convicted of a crime.
And immediately Alex Soros, George Soros' son, was like, you guys have to attach convicted felon to every tweet, every narrative you can. Use convicted felon as much as you can.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Tominator. Welcome to another episode of the TomCast. My man Drew Ryan is here.
What's going on, my man?
Hey, Drew. The lovely Morgan is out of town this week. The lovely Sarah is also MIA, so you'll probably be seeing them in weeks ahead.
I wasn't wearing a dress, man, so
whoa.
You know, I wasn't doing that for you, buddy. So it's me and you, man, today.
This week's drink shout out is to Wendy's.
Yeah, it's good. Wendy's.
I actually like Wendy's burgers. They're pretty good.
Do you? The Baconator. Can't go wrong with that. Let's be honest.
Wendy's had like 1 cent cheeseburgers on National Cheeseburger Day last week. I didn't make it there that day.
Oh, man. That's good.
All right, shout out to Wendy's. They can sponsor the TomCast by just giving me some free food.
Yeah. Your supply of bacon.
For those who don't know, we usually tape our program on Thursdays. It gets released the following Tuesday. So today's date is Thursday, June the 6th, which I mentioned in previous episodes. I'm a student of military history. Today's what they call D-Day. June 6, 1944. The Allied forces, United States, England, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, a bunch of other countries, invaded Normandy, France.
A day that will live in infamy? Is that what?
No, that was Pearl Harbor.
I slept through history. It was kind of like John Belushi and Animal House, or whatever.
June 6, 1944, D-Day. And the Nazis knew we were coming. It was a brutal battle. Like a lot of men died that day. So we take our hats off on D-Day.
Sure. Absolutely.
If you want to really learn about D-Day without reading a boring book, the 1998 movie, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Tom Hanks, Saving Private Ryan. You don't need to watch the whole movie. Just watch the first, 15 minutes.
Sure.
That's the invasion of Omaha Beach.
Great
All right,
movie.
So there's not many World War II veterans left alive. I think I read maybe like about 100,000. Because think about it, the war was from 1941 to 45. So we're talking, since the end, like 80 years ago. So if you were like 18 at the end of the war, that would make you 98.
Yeah, that's not too many of those folks, unfortunately.
But that was a brutal war. So we take our hats off to them. My next shout out goes to the recently elected president of Mexico. The United States and Canada have never elected a woman president. Mexico just did. Claudia Sheinbaum, Jewish-born Mexican woman.
That's got to be a first.
I didn't know there were a lot of Jewish people in Mexico, but she's born in Mexico.
Great. Breaking barriers.
A lot of people are surprised because in a lot of countries in the world, and I certainly don't condone it, but women are second-class citizens. So, whether it's like the men there feel they're better or macho or all this stuff. But so I think it's really great that Mexico elected a woman president.
Sure.
Mexico is an interesting country. They have a lot of problems, but there's really a lot of positives. People don't realize, obviously the weather's great. It's a large country, geographically. And they have, in a lot of ways, they have the number 6 in the world in oil production, number 6 in the world electronics production. They produce more cars than the United States or Canada because a lot of the car makers manufacture the cars there because it's cheaper labor. Tourism, they're number 6 in the world in tourism. I have friends that are going to Mexico all the time. That's the positives. but the negatives, it's a really corrupt country. The cartels basically control the country, drug cartels, a lot of violence, the murder rate is through the roof. So it's a country that, if they could get these things, I don't know if, like, they say that the cartels can never be stopped. Like, it would probably take the United States the U.S. military would have to invade Mexico to stop it. I mean, it's just, they're never going to be able to stop it. They have that much power, money behind them. But it's really a shame because it is a beautiful country with a promising economy. A lot of natural resources. So we're rooting for the Mexicans. Hopefully Claudia Sheinbaum can do some things.
Right, clean up some of the crime there. But like you said, pretty rampant.
I'm conflicted. Like I mentioned in prior episodes, I'm a Republican, registered Republican, and like the whole immigration problem we have in the United States, like. I'm conflicted because on the one hand, people are coming here illegally. There's laws, immigration laws. Like if I wanted to move to China tomorrow, I just couldn't do it. That would be like a year-long process. They might not even take me. They might. I don't know if China would want the Tominator, but when people come here, they just come in illegally and So I don't like that. But on the other hand, you have to understand why. They can't get. They're living in poverty where they live, and they want a better way of life. So how can you put that down? People trying to. So I think there has to be a middle ground where people can come here and have a better way of life, but do it legally.
Right.
I mean, this smarter people than me, have to answer these questions.
Right. I think a large part of the population in America is very irritated. A lot of, immigrants, my family's Irish. They came over. Your family came over.
Yeah,
but they came, we're a nation of immigrants, right? Mm-hmm. But the people that came here and did it the right way are now looking at these people like, hey, they're sneaking in here and they're getting benefits while these other people are getting screwed, So I could see why a lot of people are not real happy with the whole process and leaving the borders open. Now I understand Biden's trying to tighten some things up. I think it's a little convenient right at election time, but that's another show. But, hopefully, things will slow down at the border because it really got out of control there and dangerous.
Next shout out goes to Shania Twain, who I'm sure, Drew, that's like kind of your prime time, when Shania was big. For those who don't know, Shania is a country singer, beautiful woman. I guess like what they call a country crossover, like pop country singer.
Sure, beautiful gal.
She's actually 58.
Oh, she's not a gal anymore.
But she's doing a Las Vegas residency right now. For those who don't know, like a lot of major artists like Cher, Garth Brooks, Celine Dion, Britney Spears. A lot of artists do these Las Vegas residencies where they're there for months.
Sure.
So she's doing one the other day. Like instead of picking up the microphone, she picked up a drumstick by mistake and she started singing into the drumstick.
Really?
So she didn't cop an attitude. She just started laughing. Can you believe that? Like halfway through the song, partway through the song, she realized she's singing to a drumstick.
LASIK?
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. Maybe she had a couple at the.
I don't like the pink hair though, Shania. Like stick with the natural hair. And interesting thing about Shania, I'm not going to invite her to Sarasota because she's married, but she was married to a legendary music producer named Mutt Lange, Robert Mutt Lange, AC/DC, Aerosmith.
Oh,
wow. Big time guy for many years, going back to the 70s. And he cheated on Shania with her best friend. So Shania marries the best friend's husband. So they kind of swapped it. I don't think Mutt Lange ever married the best friend. I'm not sure, but she's not Shania's best friend anymore, obviously.
I know.
But interesting tidbit that people who may not remember is, Shania's in a good place right now, and really happy for her. So we give her a shout out. I still love her old 90s country songs. All right, now we got a few updates on previous episodes. The big one is Donald Trump guilty, convicted felon, 34 counts. First time in American history a president was convicted of a crime.
And immediately Alex Soros, George Soros' son, was like, you guys have to attach convicted felon to every tweet, every narrative you can. Use convicted felon as much as you can. And believe me, they have.
Well, Trump, I'm surprised by it, not because I support Trump or not, just because you expect, I don't want to rehash it, but like Michael Cohen's a proven liar and, criminal and everything. And
lied to Congress.
And then a porn star was another, lead witness. I mean, you got to be kidding me, but he's going to appeal. For those who don't know, like some people think an appeal means you get like another shot at it. It doesn't work like that. You got to show that the judge or somebody screwed up. So we'll see how his appeal works out for him. He can still run for president despite this conviction, even if it is upheld. What'll be interesting, though, is to my knowledge, Trump has no criminal record. So he might get probation. He might actually have to go to jail because it'd be a first offense. So I think they got it wrong. But just to show that I am objective and not one-sided is Hunter Biden is on trial in federal court in Delaware.
Gun.
Well, 2 counts of making false statements on a gun application and 1 count of illegal gun possession.
Okay.
I'm not a Hunter Biden fan. Like, and you know what's funny is like, not to get on my soapbox. I'm not going to say that I'm perfect in the way I live my life. I've been drunk or at times. I like to think I live my life the right way, ethically right and morally right.
Sure.
But this is not my opinion. Here's what we know about Donald Trump and Hunter Biden. Like Trump paid $130,000 to a porn star. Now he could say that was a business decision. He never had sex with her, but you writing checks for $130,000 to somebody just for no reason, So he is now a convicted felon. We talk about like that famous Access Hollywood tape where he's talking about groping women and stuff.
Yeah.
This other woman, some old lady in New York said that, he propositioned her in a department store, which I almost found hard to believe. But so let's not make him out to be a saint. But on the other hand, Hunter Biden, admitted drug use for a million years. He applied to the Naval Reserve when he was like in his 40s. You have to take a drug test, a urine test. He failed it for cocaine, came up positive, so they kicked him out of that. His older brother dies.
Yeah, Bo.
And he hooks up with the brother's wife. And my brother's got a good-looking wife, but if my brother died, there's no way I'm going there.
Pretty distasteful, man.
He's got it's kind of more accepted today. Years ago, people would ostracize you for that, but he does have a child from someone other than the mother was not his wife.
Yeah.
So, like, let's be honest. Like, he's not exactly like a first-class guy either. So one's the son of Democratic president, the other is a former Republican president.
None of these people are perfect,
they're sleazy, let's be honest.
Yeah, they do.
But where I'm going with this is I think Trump's conviction was wrong and this Hunter Biden thing, the government's not going out and charging people for false statements on gun applications. Like,
right.
I mean, it's like, I think this may be politically motivated as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. We've got so many bigger problems in this country than this innocuous stuff that, people are
But what I don't understand about this, like
wall.
I mentioned the stuff about the Trump case that was garbage with Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, but Biden, like, I got a copy of the gun application form. You could just download it on the internet. You have to give your address. He didn't give his address. So the guy in the gun store didn't say, hey, bro, your address, it says right on here. Section B must be completed personally by transferee buyer. Full name, current state of residence, and address. So, like, I don't understand what that's about. But, like, he admitted, my understanding in this case is his lawyers are saying the guy was a addicted to drugs before and after he filled out this application. But when he got the application, he was miraculously not on drugs. I mean, so you're addicted, then you're not, then you are again? I mean, but here's the question that I guess he answered no to. Even though in his autobiography he admits that he would smoke crack all day long. Are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance? Warning, the use or possession of marijuana remains unlawful under federal law. So he answered no to that. So they give him the gun, and then 11 days later, his wife throws it in a garbage can. Like, what is with that? Like, so I understand the wife, the guy's high, maybe doesn't want a gun around the house, maybe she's afraid of he'll shoot her or their kids or whatever.
For himself.
But you just go throw it in a supermarket garbage can? I mean, the whole thing is laughable.
It is, man.
Another guy we're talking about, like these lowlifes that are, in the public eye, political office or what have you, is New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez is currently on trial for corruption charges.
Oh, man. Isn't he the guy with all the gold bars?
He had gold bars.
Oh, man, a lot of them.
Apparently, he was hooked up with some Egyptian businessman trying to do favors for the country of Egypt. And his wife, she told her Mercedes by hitting a pedestrian. Now, the jury's not going to hear that. They're only going to hear that her Mercedes got totaled. The judge said it's not admissible that she hit a pedestrian. That's irrelevant to this trial.
Irrelevant?
But the reason, what is irrelevant that she told him Mercedes, because these guys that are on trial with her husband gave her cash to buy a new Mercedes, like a bribe.
Ah.
So now...
Gotta watch those people from New Jersey.
That's right. So like Menendez, the Democrat, New Jersey is a heavily Democratic state. So even the Democratic Party, bailed on him. So now he's running for re-election as an independent.
Is he really?
As an independent.
God, when do you have enough, man?
So now they're saying, so the Democrats nominated another guy. I think his name's Andy Kim. No relation to the 70s singer. There was a singer, Andy Kim, Rock Me Gently. You could look it up.
Wow, dude. That's going way back. That was a little before me.
All right. But anyway, so now with Menendez running as an independent, is it possible that could sway enough votes that a Republican could have a shot? We don't know, but...
Aren't there a couple of Democrats? I believe Joe Manchin, also a longtime Democrat from West Virginia, became an independent.
That's correct. He became an independent.
He seemed... who knows from the outside looking in, he seems like a level-headed guy. That's showing a chink in the armor, I think, for the Dems a little bit.
So Menendez is on trial with like 3 other guys, co-conspirators. But what's interesting about the case is his wife is also charged. It's a separate trial. They're not trying the wife with him. So obviously, I don't know if that was probably the prosecution's decision to try them separately. I don't want to bore everybody with like my legal opinion about why they did that. One of their co-conspirators pled guilty, and I guess he's supposed to be a witness against them. Basically, he's the rat, ratting them out. But it's Menendez and a couple of businessmen from New Jersey are on trial for corruption. A corrupt politician. There's a shocker, Drew.
Yeah,
you don't see that every day.
No, not at all, man.
Sometimes I wonder, like, if Trump did come to Hooters and have wings with me, he doesn't drink, so he'd have wings and I don't know what he would drink, Diet Coke or whatever. I think he loves Diet Coke. But I wonder if Trump thinks, like, I wonder why guys even run for office. Like, I understand, like, you want to do better and make the world a better place and give back and service to your country. But, half the people hate you right off the bat.
I know. Why did, a lot of people are happy that he is fighting because a lot of people are not happy with the direction of the country. So a lot of people are thankful. But on the other hand, this guy is so just hated and revered. I've never seen anything like it. And the amazing thing is Trump used to be a Democrat, a longtime Democrat in New York, donated to all the Democrats. Oh, yeah. They loved him, some Donald Trump. Then the guy freaking switches parties, runs as a Republican, and is the most hated man since the son of Sam.
And a little known fact, she was very young at the time, but Hillary Clinton used to be a Republican.
Did she really?
When she was a young girl. Wow. She grew up, her father was a Republican, and In 1960, Richard Nixon lost a very close election to John F. Kennedy for president. And they said that organized crime in Illinois was involved and, to tilt the election for Kennedy. A lot of dead people allegedly voted. And so Hillary was actually involved in trying to, help Nixon win.
Wow. Isn't that
She went to college and became a Democrat.
Right. You know what? At the end of the day, man, I feel this way. I was a long-time Republican, 15, 20 years. Last year, I became an independent. As kind of a personal, you know what? I'm making a political statement. I am tired of this whole tug of war. We're all humans, you know what I mean? We're all Americans, but I don't like this infighting. But unfortunately, it's like the ruling classes want this conflict. They want this conflict. I think it's just, hopefully cooler heads are going to prevail. Even Hollywood comes out with a movie, Tom, Civil War. I mean, there's a movie actually called Civil War.
Yeah, I talked about it in one of the episodes before you were on the TomCast.
I mean, to me, that's, it's like people are rooting for like this incoming civil war, and I just hope people just come to their grips and we can just recover as a country.
But again, I wonder if Trump would admit, hey, if I had to over again, I wouldn't even ran for office. But they don't really make a lot of money. I guess you have to define a lot of money. I think the president makes $250,000 a year. Maybe a senator makes $200,000. So to some people, that's a lot of money.
Trump gave his salary away, man. That's what I heard.
But it's funny how a lot of these people, so I'm saying you don't do it for the money, but take Bill and Hillary Clinton. And I don't agree with them politically, but I I would love to go to Hooters with Bill Clinton. I think he'd be a fun guy to hang out with.
Yeah, no, he probably would,
but
man.
they had no money when he got elected president. And now they've had hundreds of millions of dollars. Right. Obama, his wife did pretty well, but they were basically had minimal amount of money when he got elected.
Yeah.
Now
they're loaded with Netflix money.
Like Joe Biden was a senator. He's been in public office since 1973. So I could figure out what he made, not a dramatic, how do these guys all of a sudden miraculously have a lot of money, Now, I guess with Clinton and Obama, you can say they give speeches for big money and personal appearances, whatever. Sure. But it's
power of information.
I'm not implying that anyone's doing anything illegal, but, it goes both ways. Nixon never had any money.
Right.
Reagan never had a lot of money. So it's both sides now. LBJ, I mean, all of a sudden, these guys who never had any money, they run for office and now they're rich. So you got to question what the deal is with that.
Yeah. Hey, here's a tip: buy NVIDIA. I mean, they got information that the rest of us don't have, and they have it sooner. Let's be honest.
I guess so. But I wonder, like I said, if Trump is. I guess he's not regretting because he's running again. Looks like they say he's leading in the polls right now. The election were today.
Yeah, some people said that, and again, this whole polling thing now is just taken for a grain of salt. But some polls are showing, well, he's actually got a bounce. But fact is, the African-American vote, from what he got in 2020 to where it is now, looks to be increasing. Okay, let's face it. A large part of the African-American community has not trusted the government for a long time, and they don't like what's happening to Trump right now. That's what I've been reading and seeing, and you can Google it and look on the internet yourself if you don't believe me.
Well, the internet, of course, is always right.
Exactly. And so, but the younger people, you see Biden basically pays off $180 million in student loans a couple of weeks ago. He's hurting with young people, so, he's hoping to make a little inroads there. There are certain demographics he's having a problem. Hispanics, they look to be moving to Trump's side. But I think Trump still has some problem with suburban women. You know what I mean, Tom? So who knows? We still got 5 months to go.
It'll be interesting. It's not something you see now. I remember I've shared in the past, I really enjoy history. I mentioned D-Day. And in 1960, the Democratic nomination was John F. Kennedy versus Lyndon Johnson. And John F. Kennedy obviously got the nomination and was elected president. So one of Lyndon Johnson's supporters, this is at the convention, he goes to a Kennedy supporter and he goes, look, I know that Kennedy's your man, but they have ballots. The first ballot, they vote for a nominee. He goes, I know you got to vote for Kennedy on the first ballot, but if on the second ballot, would you think about coming over to my guy? And the Kennedy supporter goes, there ain't going to be no second ballot. And there wasn't. Kennedy got nominated on the first ballot. But my point is, years ago, like the 1800s, it was very common for some guys to come out of left field and get the nomination. So I wonder on either side. I mean, Trump's a convicted felon, and I'm sorry, I'm not a medical professional by any means, but all you got to do is watch a Joe Biden speech.
Yeah, no,
the guy's losing it.
I actually think it's
I like Joe Biden personally. Like,
elderly abuse.
we're
to
both
some
Roman
level,
Catholic.
To be honest with
We're
you.
both lawyers. We're from the same area of the country, so it's not politically. Personally, I like the guy. I think he'd be fun to have a drink with and
He
hang
probably
out.
would. He's Irish,
But,
man. We're fun people,
he's
man.
80-some years old.
Right.
He's been through a lot. You know, I actually, people don't know that on December 18th, 1972, Joe Biden's wife and daughter were killed in a car accident.
Wow.
And his two other sons, including Hunter,
So he has-
were severely injured.
Yeah.
He went through that kind of trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, in a
gotta-
way,
as
you
a
gotta,
human being,
you got to, as a human being, you got to root for the guy. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think Joe, maybe it's all over now. I mean, we appreciate your service to our country, but come on, man.
Yeah.
You know what's ironic is Biden was first elected to the Senate in 1972. It was like a relative unknown in Delaware, which at that time, believe it or not, was a Republican state. So the odds were against, but he was a young, good-looking guy. And the guy he was running against, the incumbent senator, was an older guy. So, like, Biden really campaigned hard. It's not a big state, so you go up and down the state, pretty easily. And he was, this young, attractive guy. And, they did bring up the age of his opponent, and Biden won. And then the state turned Democrat, and he never lost for, like, 40 years. So now it's kind of on the other foot. Like, Biden's the older guy, Right. So I almost wonder, are you going to see some young person come out of left field, like whether it's Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley or on the Democratic side? I don't know.
Probably Gavin Newsom is laying in the weeds out there in crazy California. The guy's got the looks of a president, but, I don't know if it's
So maybe we see somebody, come out of left field that we didn't know about. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
It is. And that's our political...
That's enough politics for this episode.
Right.
Now let's another follow-up. I've shared, the legalization of sports gambling in the last few years, and now there's all these. We talked about it for a few episodes. Just another guy was banned for life from baseball. Not a household name, like guy who didn't even really play on the San Diego Padres. Tucapita Marcano. I don't know if you ever heard of the guy, Drew.
No.
It's like a backup. I played last year for the Pirates, so they banned him based on the gambling he did last year. So it's not a suspension. He's done for life. And I was reading like the amounts he was betting. Like it was like a lot of money, but for somebody you never heard of.
Well, how much money are we talking about?
I think he was betting like his total bets were like six figures, like $100,000.
Was he laying bets for his teammates?
No.
Because, where did he get the money?
Do you know what the
Dad hit the lotto?
No, answer that. Do you know what the minimum salary in Major League Baseball is? Like the worst guy. Take a guess.
Oh, God, man.
The lowest salary.
$1 million.
$740,000 a year.
Yeah.
So, if you're making $740,000, you could be betting some serious money.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's banned for life. And as I said in prior episodes, this is just a tip of the iceberg. You're going to see more and more of this. And four minor leaguers were suspended for a year. Minor league players who were betting on major league games, not a lot of money for them. They got 1 year suspension. So as this gambling with online and apps keeps exploding, and the concern I would have if I were the commissioner of baseball or NBA or NHL or NFL is at some point you're going to see guys betting against their own team. Like they're gonna stiff it. They're gonna tank it.
Right.
And if the integrity of these games is in question, and these are the money these sports leagues make is insane.
Yes, the TV contracts are set in these
We're talking
salaries.
billions and billions of dollars.
Crazy, man.
And if anyone ever thinks it's like it ain't pro wrestling where it's entertainment, if ever thinks that if anyone ever gets a whiff that hey, teams aren't trying to win or one player isn't trying to win, they're done.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And segue into that too, Tom, these salaries. sometimes you have like a moment where you look at something and you're just like, it really just wakes you up. My sister, she's a nurse, okay? And you've heard stories like this. Nurses, police officers, firemen. You can understand why people like that in everyday life have a little bit of animosity towards athletes and sports. Years ago, when Nolan Ryan got the first $1 million contract in baseball, we were all like, whoa, these guys now, okay, are making, in basketball, in the NBA, Luka Doncic, who's going to be playing in the NBA Finals, actually starting tonight, he is up for a supermax contract. 4 years, $330 million. $80 million he's looking at a year to bounce a basketball. And then Wemby is up for, Wembanyama for 80. So the money's crazy is what I'm saying.
I do think it's crazy, but I have no animosity. If someone, if another law firm wants to buy Tominator Law for $100 million, I'm not going to say no.
But where does it stop, Tom? Where does it stop, man? We're talking $80 million a year.
Hey, if they can get it, no one's holding a gun anywhere.
Well, here's what's going to happen.
They're not robbing it.
I may not be here and you may not be here, but here's what's going to happen to sports. You can book it, okay? In about 5-10 years, all the stadiums are going to be empty. Okay, nobody's going to be buying tickets. They're going to stream the stuff on pay-per-view because food prices, it's hard for people to go to these games, man. The tickets, the parking, the booze. You go to a Rays game, a freaking Coors Light is like $18, man. So I just don't know.
They get it. They can charge it $18 for a beer because there's people willing to pay it.
That's
just basic economics.
Obviously, those people have hit scratch-offs.
But so the Tominator was wrong when we predicted Trump would be acquitted. But we were right about the gambling when I've been saying several episodes.
Yes, you were on that, man.
This is just another guy, and it's just going to keep happening. We hear somebody got caught gambling.
Yeah. So it's an all big money thing. You're talking, gambling, and I'm talking these stupid salaries these guys are making. But it's apples and oranges, but it's been bothering me for a while.
But you mentioned the NBA Finals start tonight. We also did predict that correctly, that Boston and Dallas would be in the NBA Finals.
That's not true. We actually, I think, picked the T-Wolves.
I don't think we did.
Let's go back to the tape. I'm honest, man. I know Rick Benson picked Edmonton and the Panthers, so shout out to Rick.
Yeah, that's the NHL Finals. That begins Saturday, so I think Boston is going to be real tough to beat, even though you mentioned Luka Doncic, and they also have Kyrie Irving on Dallas.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing guys.
It should be a good series.
I think
both
so.
In Edmonton and Florida should be. That should be a great series as well.
You have to call Rick and get the pick, man.
In the NHL Finals, that begins Saturday. So we look forward to both of those two championship series in the respective, NBA and NHL.
Edmonton Oilers, man. It's always when you're playing Trivial Pursuit. Who's Wayne Gretzky? That's the only. He's still the only Edmonton Oiler I know. Wayne Gretzky.
They had some great players when they had Gretzky. Mark Messier.
Yeah,
was
Messier did play with him. Yeah, you got it. That's more of our era.
All right. One thing I want to discuss, just to switch it up a little bit. It's published every week, like online or for those who read newspapers. Left a few of you out there who read newspapers.
What's a newspaper, man? It's a fish
I'll
wrap.
tell you a true story. This really happened. There's a local bar that I go to that has karaoke, and there's an area in that bar that used to have like a phone booth, and they took the phone out. So one day I'm there and there's nowhere to sit, so I'm waiting to sing karaoke. So I'm sitting in what used to be a phone booth because the seat is still in there. And then they call my name to go up and sing, and then someone goes, "Where's Tom?" And then somebody else yells, "He's in the phone booth." And then one young server working there, she goes, "What's a phone booth?"
No doubt, really? Holy smokes!
Well, I've heard women say, "What's like you had vinyl records that you put on a turntable."
Yeah.
I one young person said,
crazy.
"What's a record?"
Oh my God! Well.
What's a phone book? Like I had one young person I met didn't know what a phone book was. They used to have this thing called a phone book. It was a real fat book where you could look up numbers for businesses or people, find out their phone number. Now you just Google it, right?
Oh, I know, man. We're getting old.
So anyway, where I'm going is I just noticed the top box office. And as I mentioned past episode, my dream is to make movies, whether it be a writer, a producer, or director. And I mentioned one movie. I could mention like a whole bunch of other ideas I have. I won't. I'll save everybody that today. But I'm looking at the top 5 movies last week at the box office. This is how lame.
Oh, lame. I was just going to say without even you saying it.
All right, the first one, number 1 last week was Garfield movie.
Who?
Garfield.
The cat?
Garfield is for those who don't know, Garfield's an animated cat. Was in newspapers going back to 1976.
Oh, man, they're hurting, man.
They made the first Garfield movie in 2004. They're still cranking out Garfield movies. And I guess you can't blame them because number 1 at the box office. So they must be making money. But, I mean, does anyone really care about Garfield anymore?
No. I don't think so.
Number 2 is a Mad Max movie. For those who don't know, Mad Max, like these action movies, the first one came out in 1979, starred Mel Gibson.
Yes.
They made 3 sequels, so that's like they're just rehashing.
Yeah, they can't come up with anything creative. Come on, Hollywood. Where's your creative skills? I'll tell you what, let's do another Planet of the Apes, baby. Planet of the Apes.
Number 4.
Number 9.
Number 4 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, very creative.
The first Planet of the Apes movie came out in 1968.
Yeah,
and
Charlton
Heston
scared the living.
For those who don't know, Charlton Heston was a great actor. Won the Academy Award for Best Actor, I believe, in 1959 for Ben-Hur. Tall guy, like 6'4", 6'5", deep voice. Later became head of the National Rifle Association.
Sure, NRA, right?
Yeah, NRA. I guess I think they call it president of the NRA. But he was in the first Planet of the Apes movie in 1968.
Yeah.
They're still cranking them out.
Still cranking them out,
And
man.
I love that. Don't get me wrong. I loved the Planet of the Apes when I was a kid. It had a TV show that lasted like less than a year.
Yeah, no, it's
I
great.
watched the movies, the TV shows, the comic books. I was all my friends were into the Planet of the Apes.
Roddy
That's
McDowell, Kim Hunter. I'll give you a couple of names.
Are you for real? They're still around.
Yeah. Are they
Number
still
4
dead
at
or
the box
alive?
office.
We should start doing sorry, God. Start doing dead or alive. I wouldn't know. Is Roddy McDowell still alive?
Dead.
Oh, he's dead. Sorry. Sorry to the McDowell family.
I don't think he had any family. There was rumors that Roddy didn't like women.
Oh, okay.
I think it was pretty well accepted, but no, I'm not knocking that. Hey, whatever.
Not there's anything wrong with that.
Number 5 at the box office is the Fall Guy movie.
The Fall Guy. Was that Steve Austin?
No, the Fall. There was the Fall Guy.
Steve Austin. Lee Majors.
Lee Majors. There was a
Fall
TV
Guy.
show in the 80s called The Fall Guy. He played a stuntman who was also a bounty hunter. It was Lee Majors was an actor. He is still alive. And she has a cameo in this new movie.
Does he really?
But Lee Majors, of course, was married to Farrah Fawcett.
Right.
And I love that TV show in the 80s.
Yeah.
He had one girl who
Heather
worked
Thomas
with him.
on that?
Heather Thomas
God,
was
she was
so hot.
smoking, man.
Guess how old she is now?
She's got to be 60?
66.
Yeah. Her and Heather Locklear
She
would
was
always
this
get
beautiful
them
blonde,
up.
Heather Thomas. I'm just ridiculous.
Right.
And she quit acting, according to her, because there was just too much attention, like paparazzi and stalkers, and she couldn't go anywhere, and she just was afraid to leave her house. So she just quit, and then now she's like, no one cares what I do anymore because she's old now. But I care what Heather does.
Sure.
Shout out to Heather Thomas.
You should put her on a plane and bring her to her.
Yeah, well, she's married. I don't want to mess with that.
Oh, exactly.
But, Heather, you got the open invite to come to Sarasota and be on the TomCast. We could talk about your movie, Zapped, with Scott Baio. Remember that movie?
Right.
She's
Give me some light office work. Make some copies.
But the Fall Guy TV show is Heather Thomas, another actress who died named Markie Post. She died a couple years ago at the age of 70. I mean, they're both
another beautiful lady from Night Court.
Yeah.
Right.
But my point is, they're rehashing this 80s TV show.
That shows you that these people have zero talent, man. They can't think of anything new.
Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt star in the movie Fall Guy.
Gosling.
I like Gosling. I like Emily Blunt.
The Beavis and Butthead thing on SNL was amazing.
But this is what Hollywood is turning out. The Garfield movie, Mad Max, the Planet of the Apes, and the Fall Guy.
Bunch of retreads, man.
That's all you got.
A bunch of retreads, dude. They're off. They're like in left field just chilling, man, out in Hollywood. It's just, I think, I could be wrong, but we are in such a different era now, Tom, with Netflix and Prime Video and, all these Hulu that, the big box office movies, it's the summer.
Well, last year we had Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Now, there could be something on the
$1
horizon.
billion.
Yeah, no, that was nuts, man. I went over to Cine Bistro, very nice place, little high-end, and all these beautiful women were all dressed in pink. It was great. It was.
All right.
And then they said,
Wait,
it was a little bizarre.
You went to the Barbie movie?
No, I went to the movie theater to see Oppenheimer.
All right.
And then I discovered that there was something called Barbieheimer happening. I'm like, so wait a minute, you're here to see Barbie and Oppenheimer. It was a thing.
I give him credit for Oppenheimer. Like, if I was a studio executive and you would have pitched that to me, I would have been like, who wants to see a 3-hour movie about a physicist that
Dude, it was amazing.
A-bomb?
It was amazing. Like, the guy who played in the Peaky Blinders, the name is...
I still haven't seen that movie, and I love history.
Peaky Blinders is an awesome show. You need to watch that on Netflix. It's like the Irish Sopranos.
See, I love going to the movies, like the theater, the whole experience of the high back chair, and I got my Twizzlers, I got my popcorn.
Shout out to Cine Bistro, man. That's the sponsor.
Cine Bistro is the spot.
It is a beautiful, beautiful location.
You pay a couple bucks more, but it's worth it.
Totally worth it, man. Great air conditioning, good food, and awesome stereo surround. And they've got them all across the country. That would be a great sponsor, Tom.
I think that's a Mexican-owned company. Speaking of Mexico.
Ole.
I definitely agree with you on that. Yeah. So, but Hollywood needs to step it up. I guess you could say last year they came up with, Barbie's been around since like the 50s, so I don't know if that's really
I really don't know
original.
what's on the horizon. We're now in June. I mean, this is the heart of summer. I mean, if that's the best they can come up with, man, they got to really,
They're still cranking out Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah,
I mean,
they won't let it
Harrison
go.
Ford will be like 100.
He's 206 years old.
I like Harrison Ford, don't get me wrong.
So do I, man. So do I.
Going back to American Graffiti, 1973. Well, that about does it. We've beaten up on Hollywood too much. They need to call the Tominator. I got plenty more ideas for you out there.
That's good stuff.
I want to give I mentioned one episode when I was a kid and watching TV, you didn't have on demand, you didn't have Netflix. So if you missed an episode of a TV show, you didn't even have a VCR where you could record it. You had to wait for summer reruns. They would rerun the show's episodes over the summer. But what they did have when I was a kid was at the end of each episode of your favorite show, they'd have coming attractions for next week.
Yeah,
so I'm doing coming attractions for the TomCast.
Right.
I don't know if this will be next week, but what we're setting up is we're going to have a Taylor Swift tribute episode. It's not going to be just all kissing Taylor Swift's butt. I wouldn't mind doing that, but we're gonna discuss the phenomena that is Taylor Swift. It's just amazing. I think she's talented as hell, but how Taylor Swift is, a billionaire, $2,000 a ticket. If you look on, records on the musical charts, she has the top 5 songs on the charts.
Yeah, the phenomena that is Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
what made it? When did it start? How did it start?
I'm even going to bring in some Taylor Swift experts, which would be young girls.
Okay. I think I'll be off next week, Tom. Have a good time. I got a good defense attorney. No problem. No, that's good. That'll be an interesting conversation.
So we want to give a shout out for all those Taylor Swift fans. Travis Kelce don't really give us any 411 on his podcast, but you get some here on Taylor.
Right.
Anything else you got to add, Drew, before we wrap it up?
No, last week I kind of made light of the whole Scotty Scheffler thing a little bit. We want him back on the links. But you know what? The more and more I think about it, Tom, I think I'm going to make Scotty Scheffler the weasel of the week, man. Because, listen, the fact of the matter is, if a law officer or a security guard asks you to stop your car, you probably should stop your car. I made light of that, and I want to recant that, okay? Because no one is above the law, okay?
I agree.
No one is above the law. When they tell you to stop your car. It doesn't matter that you have a tea time. I thought about my comment, and I recant. I can admit when I'm wrong.
Did you notice one of our...
So, Scheffler, you're the weasel of the week.
One of the most popular shows out there is Pat McAfee, a sports show.
Oh,
and
God.
He called Caitlin Clark, the women's basketball player, and I don't think he meant it. If you saw the comment, he didn't mean it in a derogatory manner.
I think they're friends,
because the WNBA is exploding. Like, that was like a big money loser. No one cared about it. No one went. No one watched it. Their TV ratings are going through the roof. So another shout-out goes to WNBA. I was at Hooters last Saturday for a little while, eating my lunch, and there was nothing on. The WNBA was on. I actually was getting into it a little bit.
Sure. Well, they're beating up Caitlin Clark, some of the players there. They're really putting her through the ringer, man. She's got, like, a lot of bruises on her, and it's kind of, they're giving her the... it's like Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer giving bionic elbows to this girl. And a lot of them are thinking, hey, listen, they're just not real happy this girl is making them, she looks like Steph Curry out there, embarrassing us.
I have to interpret what Drew just said for our viewers out there. In the 90s, the Detroit Pistons won a couple of championships in a row in NBA. And they were called like the Bad Boys.
Yeah.
And they had more than a couple for you guys that were what they called, for want of a better word, goons. And I like those guys, so nothing against them.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
One was this guy, Rick Mahorn, who was 6'10", ripped.
Yeah.
And then Bill Laimbeer was 6'11".
They put a beating on Michael Jordan, man.
And they were very aggressive, with like dirty fouls, hard fouls.
Right.
I don't know if I would. They had Dennis Rodman was on that team. I mean, they had a lot of guys that were like what they called goons.
Right.
And they played very aggressive basketball.
Today, you couldn't get away with that in the NBA.
That's what they're doing to Caitlin Clark, though.
That's what I'm saying. So you know what? The Indiana Fever should hire Ronda Rousey as an enforcer.
They need to get an enforcer.
Right, exactly.
Maybe two.
Exactly.
You mess with Caitlin, you're going down.
Or Caitlin says, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm going to go play 3-on-3. You guys are, not, protecting me. You're creating a hostile work environment. The girl is amazing. She's an amazing player.
Well, Pat McAfee called her, like, he did. I don't think he meant it in a derogatory manner, but
they're friends.
He did refer to her as a white, B-I-T-C-H.
But they're friends.
All right, so then it's all cool. I don't condone calling any females.
No. I think he knew that. Sometimes, even I'm guilty of this. I used to do radio, sports radio, in this sound a long time ago. Sometimes you kind of want to say things, okay, to get a little bit of reaction, to see how far you can push it. That was probably a little bit too far.
But
it's a shock.
I don't condone it, but I don't think he meant it in a derogatory manner.
Still, man, you're in 2024, man. You got to be a little smart.
So we should know. I don't think it'll be over by next week whether Hunter Biden is going to get convicted of filing a false gun application.
That thing's going to go away. Like, come on, man. That's sorry. Come on, man.
The president didn't show up at his trial. His wife did.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden's stepmother, Jill Biden. But
he'll get a slap on the wrist, man. And to be honest, we got a lot bigger problems than Hunter's little gun charge. Let's be honest, man. I mean, come on.
It's not like he's running for office.
Yeah, man. I mean, the guy had some behavioral problems.
And
who the hell does it?
To be fair, every family I think has experienced some kind of addiction, whether it's brother, sister, cousin.
Yeah.
Aunt, uncle, or family friend.
Of course.
Like whether it's alcoholism or drugs.
Yeah, no.
I have one cousin who overdosed and died from drugs. Another one had severe drug problem. He didn't die, but he actually stole my mother's medication out of her medicine cabinet. So I can understand that,
most families have people in their, that understand that people go through stuff.
So,
life's hard, man. A lot of people can't deal.
Try to walk a mile in everybody's shoes.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Drew. Well, I think that about does it for today. I appreciate having you here again.
I think we did good, man. Well, I'm going to be rooting for the Edmonton. I don't know who I'm going to be rooting for, but leave you with this, Tom. Wayne Gretzky quote. It's something about, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
That's right.
Good luck to everybody out there, and hopefully the Panthers and Oilers put on a good show.
All right. See you all next week.